Were you always defensive back? Like, was there any other positions that you played coming up, or was it defensive back from the get go?
Linebacker. Again, I'm laughing. I feel like one of those commercials or movie when the guy is asking questions and well, not even the movies, but commercial when these celebrities how about well, you're not gonna and I say this in my book, and my book coming out, and they say the title of the book, so I feel like I'm promoting my book because I put all that in the book for real. My first position was linebacker, and
Mm-hmm.
all I ever did, and again, you talking about playing ball in the neighborhood. I didn't have no recreation at the time, so we just had a bunch of black fathers who got together to get us little young black boys something to do to keep us out of trouble, right? And the way they taught me how to play football was hit the man to football. And hit the man to football the best way you can, that faster you can. And what that meant was I'm running over my own teammates trying to hit the man to football.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to high school, and this way it got the more details in my book, when because I played baseball and I played in the World Series, at the age of 14, when I came back from Pensacola, Florida, and went to my high school for the first day to meet the coach and everything because I transferred. And the coach, his name is Coach Simon. He asked me, well, what position you want to play? I kept saying, I said linebacker. He looked at me. He said, well, what position you want to play? I said linebacker again. He said, well, if you had to choose between quarterback, and running back, I kept saying linebacker. So the way I became a defensive back, he told the coaches, put him at free safety because he's just getting back for the summer, and the summer is almost done, and that's the easiest position to learn. The easiest position to learn with the time he has left as a freshman. And granted, I couldn't play because I transferred, so I was ineligible. So I practiced my entire freshman year at free safety, and that's how I became a defensive back. But when I played football, it was always linebacker.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when you developed, through your high school years, right? You talked about the school, the college that you went to, but kind of, I guess, touch on that whole recruiting process, for yourself. What were the prospects like, and how did you end up at the school that you ended up?
Well, in high school, I transferred from a school called East St. John High School. A lot of talent. Again, it's a baseball school with great football players. I think guys like Lewis Lips. That's the first one that come to my head. Can't think of these young guys right now, but there are a lot of talent. So I transferred to Destrehan. Now Destrehan, just so people can know more about Destrehan High School is the school that Damon Mason graduated from, but that's where Ed Reed graduated from, and Justin Jefferson, just to name two of the most prominent guys who came out of our school that I can remember like that. So, but I transferred because I wanted a better opportunity to play baseball and a better opportunity to get a scholarship. And again, my entire life was built on baseball. I knew I was good at football, but I was a two-sport player. And when everybody is good, and on the baseball diamond, there's only 9 people, and you got we got seniors, juniors, sophomores, and I'm going to be a freshman. Somebody won't be playing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody not going to be playing, and then that's when I found out what a scholarship was. And so me tell me, okay, I can go to college for free if I'm halfway decent in sports. But you know what? I think I might want to go to another school where I'm gonna get a better opportunity to play because all of my boys can ball, and because I had a bad attitude, a quick temper, and all kind of nicknames like crybaby, all that kind of stuff. Nobody was actually going out of the way talking about man, you gotta play Damon. Damon is good. I was not. That was not me. That was not my story. So I was always on the back burner and had to really, really compete and fight and almost be like a brown nose and wishing guys don't show up to the game so I get the opportunity to play and showcase my abilities. So when it came down to high school, I didn't want to go through that again. 4 years gonna come and go fast. Let me go to a school where nobody don't know me, in a school that I think I can get a better chance to play baseball and also play football. Like I said, baseball was that man, and again, make you laugh. This is all in my book. So when you get to high school, and for people who are watching this, again, me being a coach right now and a mentor, I stress this all the time. I was one of those players that whatever my coach told me to do, I'm not questioning it. I'm doing it. So the world we live in today, and it's easy to make things about black and white. I didn't see black and white until you make me see black or white. And what I mean by that is this here, like, so they got older guys from my high school. Man, Damon, you the coach's passing now, whatever. You had the same opportunity that I had. No matter what these coaches told you, what they did, whatever, as long as it was nothing physical, that's your parents get involved. But when the coaches say whatever they say and told you to do whatever they want you to do as a player, you made the choice that you made, and I made the choice that I made. I know that I cannot get this scholarship if I don't listen to these people. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Whatever they want me to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to earn the scholarship, because that's why I can, man. So to make that long story very short, man, you're talking about out of a large senior class back in 1992, only 2 of us really had a scholarship, and I was one of those guys. And that's what I went there for. And I stressed that because, again, as I talk to kids today, I ask them, at any school, anybody think, if let's say a group of kids in the room, I ask them, who know for certain they're going to get a scholarship? Raise your hand. And so then I tell them, when they ask me that, how people come to your high school and talk to you, motivate you, all that kind of stuff, they ask that question, I was the only guy who raised my hand. And so the gentleman was like, well, how do you know? I said, number one, because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing at practice. I know what I'm doing on Friday night. I know what I'm doing in the weight room. I know what I'm doing in my community. And I know what I'm doing in the classroom. I'm not doing all that to think that I won't get a scholarship. Now, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going to get one. And you know me, that was my fake speaking, and I was not going to change that thought for nobody. So when I got my scholarship, granted, I was one of 2 starters that started as a sophomore. So that was back in the days before your time when it was a blue chip. Now it's 5-star, 3-star. So I had made it was first it started off as the who's who. So I made the who's who as a sophomore because remember I had to sit out my freshman year. So my sophomore year I had 11 interceptions as a sophomore. So I made the who's who list. Then my junior year, which was my second year playing, I had 7 interceptions. And then my senior year, they moved me to fullback, and that's why the coach won't ask me about quarterback or running back because we ran a wing T. So you need a lot of runners in the wing T system. But again, my goal was to play linebacker. So with all that being said, man, by the time I became a senior, I was starting on offense. I played on defense only when they need me. But the blessing was that I had coaches. In fact, let me back up. My first 2 letters were from Nebraska and Oklahoma. And you know how they coach give you a letter. I was like, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and just to make that really short, I ain't know nothing about the college recruiting system. I ain't know nothing about nothing. I mean, like today, I know like if you say there's a Florida State, there might be multiple Florida State, like Florida International. All I knew was the Gators or the Seminoles. So when I'm starting seeing all these schools, I'm just feeling like every recruiting form and sending them back. I mean, I was one of those guys who had a shoebox full of letters. But when it all came down to being offered, only one school offered me, and that was Louisiana Lafayette. Back then it was called, the University of Louisiana. But in my days it was called the University of Southwestern Louisiana. And I was told that they knew the kind of football player I was going to be just based on seeing the way I played the game in high school. And in closing, my mom was like, you know what? I wanted to go to LSU, just like I wanted to play for the Saints. All kids have dreams. I always dream of playing for the top schools in the state. But my mom made the prayer like, I'm going to pray that you go where you're needed, not where you want to be. I wanted to go to LSU, and my history, Jersey being retired, I was needed, at Louisiana Lafayette. So it worked out in my favor.
Okay, good. So fast forward to you're about to graduate and you're looking at the pros, what you want to do pro. Everybody you said you wanted to go to the Saints. So I guess kind of speak to what you already did, I guess, but kind of dive into it again, if you want to follow a path for everybody to follow.
Right. Well, you get even deeper, man. You talking about 5 years in college, and I won't go backwards, but I was only a 2-year starter. I told you I was the MVP of the conference, MVP of the state of Louisiana, 3rd-team All-American. They retired my jersey 4 months after my last game. Every week, scouts came to school looking for me. That's what I was told. And when everybody saw me, they was like, you'll go in the room, the coach watching film, and the coach introduce, hey coach, this Mason, and the coach be sitting down looking at me like, look at me, look at the film. This is you, because I was small. I'm 5'5". I was the smallest safety, the smallest strong safety in the country. The year was 1991. 91? No, I lied. 1996, my draft year. And I heard everything that any kid would want to hear. Man, I passed by you in the hallway. I thought you were a trainer, but this is you're awesome. You all over the field. Boom, boom, man. If you keep doing this here and you finish the season like you started, I promise you'll be in somebody's NFL camp. But my secondary coach broke it down to me. He said, Damon, to me, my roommate. He said, Damon and Britt Jackson's his name. He said, because of the school you go to and because of your size, you're gonna have to be either perfect or damn near perfect to get the opportunity to play the NFL. And I tell everybody this story, and I tell them I can boldly and proudly say that I was damn near perfect. I got the stats and accolades to back it up. So I was not invited to the no Senior Bowl, no bowl games, none of that. And again, 5'9", maybe 165, 170 pushing it, soaking wet, strong safety, with all the accolades. And I just was overlooked, not given opportunity. The Saints talked to me. They did. Matter of fact, it was a running back named Hokie Gajan. Hokie Gajan, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I remember watching and cheering for him, and he was the guy who told me that. Before I came to Orlando, I went to Canada in Calgary. I got cut. So I became my own agent. I started recruiting myself and providing exposure for myself. And people would like my film, but I just wasn't getting no opportunity. So it was more like, well, then back then it was the World League. It was the World League before it became NFL Europe. And it was hard for me. It was hard for me. So it was like, well, you know what? As a matter of fact, I had a one-on-one conversation with God, and I gotta say this because it's very, very relevant. I had a one-on-one conversation with God, and I was like, Lord, I know you didn't give me the talent that I have for my career to be over with right now. And I know you didn't allow me to accomplish all the things I've accomplished from the age of 10 playing baseball all the way up to what I just did in college. All-American, Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame yet, but retired jersey 4 months after my last game. So that was more like a confession of faith. So then I told God, I said, Lord, I know I'm going to play football again. I don't know when. I don't know where. I know I'm going to play again. And so then I started remembering my mom started telling me, you know what? Sometimes God waits for us to start acting like we already have what we want, what we're praying for. So I said, okay, I'm going to start working out and preparing for training camp as if I'm already going to training camp. So I started going to the gym every day, just working out, preparing for training camp. So whenever I got a phone call, whenever it's going to happen, I'm going to be ready. And then what else I did, I went out and got myself 3 jobs, just like it feel like, because I left college. I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't focus in college no more. I said, I can't, I'm not playing football. At the all stuff I've accomplished in 2 years, I can't stay here. So I went back home and got 3 jobs just so I could feel like I'm some type of a young man, not living off my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing it every day. I'm going to church every Wednesday, every Sunday. I'm praying. I'm crying. I couldn't watch football. I couldn't listen to football. I'm looking at my old tapes from college, crying. My dad would be like, "You want a beer?" That was his way of trying to make me feel better. So that was my world for 6 months until again. Well, it was called the Indoor Football League, where this family back in my college the town of Lafayette. They had purchased the PIFL, Professional Indoor Football. They brought a team and brought it to Louisiana, the Bayou Beasts. And their son was on the team with me. So I came home from work one day, and my mom was like, well, one of your teammates called, say he's your teammate, and say, give him a call. So I called him and said, man, Damon, my parents want to talk to you. So I talked to his parents. He said, well, Damon, we some of your biggest fans. We watch you. We used to come to the game every Saturday just to see what you was going to do tonight. Well, we just purchased this football team. We don't know nothing about football, but we want to bring you aboard to be on the team and help us build this program. No brainer. Sure. Mm-hmm. Love it. Thank you. So one thing led to another. I helped every aspect of how it is, the marketing. I helped them find a coach, which was Buford Jordan, who also played for the Saints. I did everything for them, and so excited just to put my cleats on. I had to try out because I was helping everything, but because you know how we do it. Hey man, I'm gonna go out there and compete at the trial just for the sake of it. How God worked. Who was sitting down there watching Jay Gruden, Les Moss, and Fran Popsidero. And and as Jay tell me the story, they was in New Orleans. You know them, the Three Rascals. They was going to the casino and reading newspaper, and saw that there was a indoor football league having open trials in Baton Rouge on the LSU campus. So they said they decided to drive out there, and I saw these three white guys watching me. So I ain't thinking of it until the owner came and told me, but Damon, he told me who they were, said, they want to talk to you. And Jay being Jay didn't talk, so Les Moss did all the talking. And EJ, all I heard was blah 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 blah. Free trip to Florida, blah 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 blah. Because in my mind, I went to Canada and got cut. Why do I have to go all over the world, the country, the different states to prove that I can play football?
Mm-hmm.
So these people did a lot, gave me an opportunity. So in my own backyard, was my hometown from Baton Rouge to La Plaza, about maybe 25, 30 minutes. Well, I'm going to go away to Florida and I can play right here. Some personal things happened. Jay was calling me every day. And then I messed around and told my coach, one of my coaches in college who played in the NFL, about Jay Gruden. And that's at the time when John was up for his head coaching job with the Raiders. Oh yeah, man, that's a good family, man. Yeah, Jay, his brother John is up for the Raiders, and that's how I found out that Jay's dad was a scout for the 49ers at that time. His name is Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was an old-time football player who played for the Patriots back in the days. He said, well, I tell you what, Damon, I'm going to put together your highlight tape, and I'm going to send it to Jay. All right, cool. Thanks, coach. The next thing I know, man, Jay called me a couple of days later. You know how Jay is. You'll never know what you're going to get with Jay. He said, Damon, I got bad news. So I'm thinking, what's up, coach? He said, I just seen your highlight tape. You have to come play for us. You ain't never got to try out. Just tell me the number you want and your shoe size. And that's how I got to Orlando, man. That's how I got to Orlando.
Okay. So when you first got a taste of arena ball in Orlando, what did you think about the game? Like, what was your initial thoughts? Like, I guess, elaborate on that for me.
But even before my first game, it's funny. I remember I used to watch arena. Anytime arena came on, that let me know in college that it was almost time for football season in college. You know how it is when you're so anxious to get playing, so you try and watch any kind of football. And the only time arena came on back in those Honky Cooper and Barry Wagner days was the playoffs. The regular season wasn't on TV. It was always the playoffs and the Arena Bowl, and it was always the same team. So that's how I knew who Honky Cooper was. Interception, kickoff return. I mean, it's like, man, he was doing everything. So I already thought, and I remember saying late at night watching it in college, I would never play that. That's suicide. I ain't doing that. I would never play arena football. You know what those saying is, right? Be careful what you say. Never say what you never do. Yep. So, but my first game was against the New York. I can't remember what they were. It wasn't the Dragons at the time, but it was against New York. And the first guy I covered was Cleveland Pratt. It wasn't Cleveland Pratt. It was James the Jet. Fast. I never forget Jay. And that's the kind of bond me and Jay had from day one. Jay was always talking to me, hey man, you the best out there. You the best. This ain't nothing to you. So, and being a rookie, they tried me. I mean, every time they were like dropping bombs on Baghdad. This full speed, go. Guy in high motion, they running by you. So, it wasn't. Football was football to me. That was just my mindset. And guys were trying to tell me, as we got older, even you guys were like, hey, bro, you're going to get beat. So just have thick skin, get over it, make the adjustment, because you're going to get beat deep. So when I'm hearing that, I'm like, I don't get beat deep, dog. I don't get beat deep. You know what I'm saying? High school, I got beat one time. College, I got beat one time, because the only thing could beat me in high school and college is a play action, because if I see play action, I'm reacting too fast for the run because I'm trying to destroy stuff. So that's the only thing that can beat me. So I'm like, man, dude, I don't get beat deep. So the game was fast, and Jay talked to me every game. That was a great help. I I played the backside, which is it was a norm back in those days that you put the weakest or the new guy, you put him backside to kind of keep him protected, to learn the game. Whatever it is, you ain't gonna put him in a fire right away. You know what I'm saying? So I had no interceptions. I can't remember the records, but things really didn't slow down to me until that guy they called the glove actually stepped up and started playing. And when I saw him playing, my first thought was shit, that's the way I play. Kenny was gonna do his own thing. Kenny just came out there and did freelance. I'm like, man, that's how I play. So it was almost like I felt like, and I had no problem with it. I was Jay's project. I was the first transaction that Jay made as a first-time head coach in Orlando. So he talked to me every play, before every game, But then when Kenny jumped on the scene, I want to say the last game or the second to last game of the season when we made that playoff run before we went to the Super Bowl, the Arena Bowl and won it. I just remember watching him and like, man, that's how I play the game. Now I am not saying that I was making those interceptions. I was a hitter. So what I mean by this, how free he was, and that's when I made the determination. You know what? Let me do what I do best, which is hit, make tackles, and just watching Kenny play, just watching him play, and just like, hey man, I know what I can do. I don't care what nobody else. I know what I can do. So. And I had to say that because, man, I don't take credit for nothing. There's a lot of things that helped shape the career that I had. And that year, I started every game until Kenny got his opportunity. And once Kenny got his opportunity to start, it was a no-brainer, So now I went from being a full-time starter to transitioning from the backside, the substitution rule.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard for me because coming from college, being one of the best, and then you start the whole season. So then, I had to change my whole thought process. Okay, look. I'm not playing as much, but when I get in, I got to watch film backside. So that's how I ended up making the interception in the Arena Bowl that year. Just watching, just breaking down film, like I say, studying film and looking at the tendencies that they was doing, so I can make. The bottom line is, everybody was saying Kenny met the glove. Hold up, man, I got that in me too, and it pushed me to say, I gotta find a way to get my name talked about the way his name is being talked about. And that's when the D-Rock thing was born, where, I stopped trying to be cute, I put all my pads back in my pants. That's when I went back to my elbow pads.
No.
That's how that started, man, because Kenny jumped on the scene, catching interceptions one-handed, shutting people down, especially he was the best thing to stop Corey Fleming. So I said, okay, man, if this is what he's doing, I catch interception too, but I ain't gonna catch interception every play. But I can hit and tackle and cause fumbles every play. So that's what I do best. So, let me get back to doing what I do. And it's in the elbow pad was just that when I'm throwing full on, I'm getting off tackles. That was just because I was being that physical. Sometimes I used to have padded gloves so I can throw punches and stuff. But anyway, so I can start rambling. That was that foundation, bro. All that started from my first season all the way up to the Arena Bowl in my thought process and preparation.
Did you hit your comfort level in your first year, or did it take a couple of years for you to fully fall into your role? Or your personality, your groove as a player. Was it right away, or did it take a minute?
Well, to make it, I say it happened after the first season, and I already mentioned I'm gonna make it make sense to everybody. So after we won, I already told you what I did in the playoffs once Kenny jumped on the scene. So I started studying more film. I remember I was number 21. I'm sorry, I was actually number 28 before Kenny. Kenny was wearing number 12. So I was wearing 28. We won the Arena Bowl, beat Tampa in Tampa. I had an interception on TV. So now I go in to sit with Jay for contract negotiation. Jay was like, "Do you know how this go?" And I had an idea. Come on, we watched, we had ideas. But I'm like, I know a little bit, but this really my first professional opportunity. I said no. So he broke it down to me. He said, "I'm gonna base your contract negotiation compared to some of the best in the league." And then that's when I asked, "Well, who you consider the two of the best in the league?" Tracy Perkins, Johnny Harris. I said, okay. So we start talking about numbers and the numbers and the incentives and the how back in the day you had to do with not the hotel but the apartments. Just started doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is how I did my contract my rookie year after my rookie season. EJ, I said, Jay, you pay me what you think I deserve, and whatever you give me, I consider it a blessing from God because God used you to give me the opportunity that no other professional team did. That's how I did my contract.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then I said, now, do you have film on Tracy and Johnny? Give him the film. And I watched that film the whole summer. And you know how we do it when you stay I was staying in Orlando and during the off season. Guys are coming. We doing one-on-ones and doing 3-on-3s. So by me watching film, so when I came back for year 2, I was a whole. And then Jay told me, he said, you had such a good career, a great career in college. Jay said, I want you to wear number 9. That's why I went to number 9 and how Kenny got 28. Because Jay said, I want you to wear number 9 because of how you played in college. So I'm back in number 9. I have my elbow pads, I have my pads, my pads in my pants, and my mouth guard. The rest was history. It was a wrap. I'm smashing everything. Anything. I'm telling Kenny, hey, just hold him up and move to the side because I'm coming. And I'm not coming slow, I'm coming fast.
Uh-huh.
You know I'm not lying. So that was my game. Y'all don't want to tackle? Just hold him up and move. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Definitely. Let's put some visual to what you're talking about.
Jay used to tell me, if you play good, we'll win. And I took that to heart.
Everybody noticed remember you as the hit man.
Mm-hmm.
So you were never intimidated by the size of anybody.
I used to tell people, I don't care how big you are, but I'm 5'9", I run a 4.4. I'm running full speed. Something gonna give. Either I'm gonna hurt you, or I'm gonna hurt myself trying to hurt you. But one thing for sure, you gonna know you've been hit. That's just my philosophy.
Say the offense is coming out, you as a DB, because you ain't just hit now. You also knew how to make your own calls and make your adjustments and all that, and how to dissect what the offense is trying to do. Kind of elaborate on what's going on in your head when the team's breaking the huddle, high motion man's starting to head your way. What were you thinking? What goes through your head?
You put me on the spot, huh?
Yep.
It's kind of a 2-part story because Orlando, we were just different in Orlando. We playing man coverage. We gonna sprinkle in the zone here or there, and the whole philosophy in Orlando was, if you can't play man in Orlando, you ain't gonna be here long. So with that being said, my thought process was, I'm gonna, again, watching film, I ain't gonna take no credit for it. I tried to perfect it though, but watching people like Tracy Perkins, I'm gonna get back deep. Now right here, I know you talk about watching film and studying film. So I studied enough film to know that, okay, if the high motion guy is jogging, 9 times out of 10, he's not going deep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then you look at tendencies. The ball is on, we would call that the cottage hedge. They're the cottage hedge. So you see that there was like 2 hedges on both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right where the ref is, so that's the cottage hedge. So that means, like, I'm pointing at my computer screen like y'all can actually see it. But the let's say the number 1 receiver, he split so far wide
mm-hmm.
to give the motion guy room to do whatever. All right, so really, and that's a lot more technical. But knowing down the distance, if it's probably first down, we just kicked off, we got them backed up. They're gonna try to do something quick to give themselves a little bit of room.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's Tennessee, that's game planning. But now it goes just a one-on-one, like you said. I'm watching the receiver, I'm watching his motion. He ain't doing nothing to make me believe that he's gonna run deep. So when you click it, you're gonna see me. I'm gonna backpedal, but I'm matching his tempo. And as soon as he stopped, now I'm coming like a bat out of hell to try to punish him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just wanted people to, when it comes to this, not everybody gets the opportunity to hear from you, to hear your words, to hear what you were thinking. And the whole goal is for them to kind of see what you're thinking. And, these young guys that's out here that's playing, that watch, my hope is that they get incentive to reach out to you to say, shoot, I watched some of your film. I done heard you speak or whatever. Hey, can you help me out? Or, how can I be like you kind of deal? So that's kind of a goal that I have for, what I'm doing with this show.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
You know what I mean? So
go ahead.
But that's kind of my goal. Like I want to bring the two together, bring the young guys and the older guys that got some information they want to share, but they don't necessarily know how to get to the younger guys, and younger guys don't know how to get to the older guys. So I'm trying to bridge the gap between the two.
That's big, man. Now I wanted to say, and use that kind of coach too. When I family trip and I came to visit, you connect me with the players, exchange them with those guys. And unfortunately, everybody not like that, EJ. And I tell there are several reasons why I'm like that. But one of the main reasons my rookie year, I had guys like Chris Barber, Forrest Irving, those older guys in Orlando. Tracy tell me after each play, come stand right here. And I do that today as a high school coach. I got my safety standing side by side just so they can communicate with each other. In case one of them is unsure, not as confident, Trisha tell me everything. Okay, over that, boom. He talked to me. So when I became that leader in the DB, you remember we used to always, even with Kenny, because Kenny, as great as he was, Kenny mind is everywhere. So I just gotta make sure that K-Mac get the call so he can do what he gonna do. And we left it like that. Hey, Mac, get the call, give him the signal, tell it to him, boom. So with that being said, man, one of the things that a lot of young guys used to ask me back in the days, that's how old we are back in the days. But man, they talk about longevity. I was never afraid to look at guys who came before me, who paved the way. Like I said, Tracy Perkins, Johnny Harris. I look at Stingley, who's not that much older than me. If not, we might be the same age. I look at Cecil Doggett. We all play the same way. But Tracy Perkins was that guy for me. But then I started watching younger guys. I can't remember a lot of their names because as I got older, the game started changing a little bit. Now, one of the guys I can say I actually watch a lot, a young guy who changed the game in his own right, is Cleavon Thomas. Because coaches started wanting to implement Cleavon Thomas' style of play. But people don't understand, just because somebody else is doing something good don't mean everybody can do what he's doing. He's doing that because he's good at it. So I started watching him because people started demanding that. And when you're playing for coaches who really don't know you and they're younger than you, so now it becomes people respect Mason. People want Mason because of what Mason did in Orlando and what Mason and McIntyre did together. See, they were thinking, you know what? We want some of that Sam fire that Mason and McIntyre created in Orlando. So we're going to bring Mason here and hopefully he can bring that same type of spark to our team. But then when you start dealing with coaches who say they want it done their way, they're drawing up stuff, and you've been playing the game for a long time, and in your mind you're like, that shit ain't gonna work. But it's a business now. These coaches don't know your value. They don't know who you are. They're trying to make a name for themselves. And the best way a coach can make a name for himself is by bringing in guys who nobody don't know, and guys who's gonna listen to them. And I'm saying that to say, because as these young guys today get older and older and older, now you gotta make a business decision. Like I had to make a business decision. Let me try to find a way to make this shit work, because this is the way. Now I'm married. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to build a family. This is just toward the end of my career. Mm-hmm. So I say all that to say this here: don't be afraid as you get older. Don't be afraid to look at the younger guys to see what they're doing. Because when I started doing that, EJ, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. Oh, I like that. Gee, man, let me steal that and add that to my repertoire. Which goes back to saying what? Don't just watch film, study film, and don't just study film on the receivers that you're covering. Study film on the guys who people are talking about who play the same position as you. Mm-hmm. Because they must be doing something right that everybody keep talking about them. Mm-hmm. So that those are things that I would share for anybody who ever reach out to me. I said in high school.
Yeah, as I get my guys coaching wise, I always say I don't know it all, but I got the resources. So if you want to be a great DB, shoot, I'll hit you up. Right. And try to put you in touch with the guys. When the guys, our quarterbacks wanted to learn something, I connect them with P.O. I connect them with Clint Dozell. Man, it pays to just be humble and pass it off to somebody who knows. You know what I mean? As opposed to sit pretending like you know it all. I may not know it all, but I know somebody who knows this and who knows that, and that pays more dividends than to sit there and try to be the guru who knows it all of everything.
That's right, man. It's nothing better than hear somebody say, "Hey, Mason, hey, bro, I appreciate it. Thank you." Mm-hmm. Hey, man, hey, bro, it was done for me. Like you said, it's all about passing it down, man. Mm-hmm. If you can take my position, then you deserve it. I think as a player, that was my thought process. And then toward the end of my career, when I came out of retirement to come back and play that one more year, I specifically said I came back to play one more year to get out my system and to help bring up the new DS. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Rashawn Kaiser. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kaiser already had his thing, I just, if there was anything I did, I just tried to teach him, I guess, how to, because I think he was a guru at studying film. I used to be up late at night, studying film, and really just playing my video game. I used to go to the rec room, he'd be in there watching this film, and we'll just talk. Definitely I knew my career was over because I'm trying to take a side job, and I remember telling him, hey, brother, you know what? I've been playing the middle for so long, so many years. You go play the middle. I'm gonna go backside and do what K-Mac been doing for years, just chilling and trying to steal shit. I ain't want to take no credit for Kaiser, but just him how to manage the game and talk to him, preparation stuff like that. But he was a phenomenal talent. So, but that was my goal. Those DBs who they had, another one, he's coaching high school football. God, no, I shouldn't say that because I can't remember his name. Glenn? Nope, not Glenn. CL. I want to say Grogan from Louisiana. He was like my roommate that year.
I think I remember that.
Mm-hmm. But it was just about trying to help the next guys. Hey, man, and I'm gonna say this here, then I'm gonna let you continue.
Yeah.
When I came back that year, just to make it make more sense, I was telling guys, hey, bro, look, remember, we're gonna get $400, right? You sign the contract. Ain't nobody forcing you to sign this contract, so don't complain now. Be a pro. You sign a contract, come out here and give your best. I didn't care about the money because I just wanted to play and get out of my system because we was forced out. I was forced out. I want to quit on my own turn. I want to retire on my own turn. So I'm gonna come play this last season and I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not complaining about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole mindset was trying to teach guys how to be professional about it. And guys would call me, a couple years after I left Orlando, he was going through stuff with different teams when he was going through the journey stage of his career and dealing with stuff with coaches and the coach's mindset, yada yada. And that showed a lot of respect, and I appreciated him showing me the respect. This, hey man, how would you handle this here? And I would tell him, hey man, it's all, hey, you gotta make business decisions, certain things you don't have to do, yada yada yada. So, but that's what it all boils down to. Once we became those vets, they're just trying to teach those guys not just how to play the game, but play the game. You know what I'm saying? Not just play the game on the field, but play the game in life, play the game off the field. How you prepare yourself, how you handle yourself. You know what I'm saying? You win championships. You don't win championships by yourself, so holding people accountable. I mean, there's a lot of things that I learned in the football league. So I tell people, I was a good football player in high school. I was a great football in college. And I learned how to perfect the art of covering in arena football. I was a master at my craft in arena football. I learned the precise angles and the things that I could do and couldn't do. And so that's why I love the game so much. Why I don't go to that long story, but I got too much love for the game because the game, what I put into the game, EJ, it gave it back to me. I started my entire family based on the things I've accomplished playing arena football. So that's a blessing right there in itself.
So you ended up after you started to move on from football, but then you got that call to go to Jacksonville to coach. So kind of speak on that feeling of coming back and then winning a championship when you came back as a coach.
Again, the law worked, and I don't see mysterious ways. The law know what he's doing. I don't like saying mysterious ways anymore. He knew what he was doing. The way it happened, I had already coached 1 year with PO in Orlando. I'm sorry, New Orleans as a defense coordinator. And then the different ownership things happened. The voodoo ended up folding and whatever. No, actually they didn't fold that year. They moved on from PO, and so when PO left, I just left and came back to Atlanta to work my job and whatnot. So when Cy Burley, one of our former teammates, was the head coach in Jacksonville, that's probably the only time I pay attention to any kind of indoor football, IFL, AFL, whatever, NAL, when somebody who we know is coaching. And they had just lost. They was undefeated. Had lost to the team in Mexico. I want to say it was Monterrey. And I was driving to work. I work at the airport. You know that by now. And I think I sent him a text because I was like, man, what happened? Y'all was undefeated and they lost the second to the last game. He got lied. I want to say they lost the last game of the regular season, undefeated. And I sent him a text on Facebook. Like, man, what happened? So coming home from work, Cy called me. I said, bro, I was just watching you. This was what Cy told me, the best I can remember. D Mace, hey man, I just fired my defense coordinator. I need you to come help me win this Arena Bowl. I said, what? I said, oh man, I'm like, I'm driving home from work. I said, what's Cy, look, bro? I tell you what, you pray, I'm gonna pray. And when I get back to work tomorrow, I'm gonna talk to my people and see what they can do. Because the good thing was, this wasn't the whole season. I don't want people to understand that. This was the season was over with. They was going to the playoffs. He said he had to make a long story short. He had him and the defense corner had just they didn't see eye to eye, bump heads. He got rid of him and he called me. And this is what he told me. He said, D Mace, you call me D Mace. I don't know what made me think of you. He already told me. I said, bro, that was the Holy Spirit right there. That's my exact word. That was the Holy Spirit. So when he called me, I said, I tell you what. I gotta talk to my people on the job to make sure they'll give me a leave of absence without pay, whatever. I ain't going for no 6 months like I did when I was with the Voodoo. I'm just going for probably a couple weeks. I got back to work. I said, but I tell you what, send me the film on the last game so I can see what was going on. So he sent me the film. The next day I talked to the people. They was all excited for me. I was only gone for like 3 weeks because again it was the last game of the season. The very next week was the start of the playoff, and guess what they played? The same team that just beat their butt. Now this is what happened though, EJ. It wasn't the same team that they had beat before. This team had brought in a whole bunch of a lot of vets, and they had put together a team damn near overnight to beat Jacksonville. And one of the guys they had on the team was a young man who just passed away a few months ago. Jacoby Jones was on the team. That's when I first met him. He was on that team. And so when Cy sent me the tape, it's gonna sound pretty arrogant, but it is what it is. I said, oh, bro, I see what y'all was trying to do. I said, but I tell you what, I got the green light. I'm coming. So I made it to Jacksonville in enough time. I want to see the next day or two because they had to get to practice and prepare in preparation for this first playoff game against the same team that just beat them pretty bad. So I'm talking to Cy over the phone. I had an idea of what they were doing. So based on what I saw You know how it is, man. It was just communication.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't change nothing. I just changed the communication, and we played man coverage. I said, bro, y'all can lock these guys up. We ain't gotta do nothing special. I just got here, so we just, the communication with me, it's gonna be crisp because I'm calling plays based on if I'm still playing. I don't call a play you come with the huddle based down and distance, formation, placement of the ball. The hash. That's how I make my calls. And no matter what the formation is, I'm gonna have 3 calls to every formation. That's what I did. That's what I did as a defensive back who was also a coach. Called my own defense, and we blew them out. So the very next week, it was a whole bye week. Then the Arena Bowl. So for some reason, the National Arena, how you National Arena Bowl? I guess that's what it was called.
National Arena League, and I think they just called it a championship. Right. National Arena.
So we played one game, and because of the record, I think we had a bye. So we played one game, then we had a whole bye week, then we went straight to the championship. So I had roughly 2 weeks to game plan for Carolina Cobras. Was it Carolina Cobras? I think it was the Carolina Cobras. And I can say, at halftime, they had to only score 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. I damn near pitched a shutout against them. And so it was a combination of everything I had learned in the league. Mm-hmm. See, the man coverage stuff, that was all Orlando. That was Jay Gruden. When Jay get mad, matter of fact, I lied. When Jay get mad, he ain't calling nothing. So that when Kenny be like, hey man, the hell with Jay. Man, so make the call. Jay get mad, he play what you want. So the man stuff was basically Orlando. Anything outside of man coverage besides the occasional blanket, the sky cloud, or that was my game plan, man. So I had a whole week. Remember, my mom had just passed, so I was up listening to Wheel One by Frankie Beverly Mays, just watching film, crying, watching film, breaking down, either the last 3 or 4 games. It's like, I don't care what to do. I got it. Mm-hmm. I got it because, and as a head coach, and from your level of play, every offensive coach is going to go into the game with a game plan. And my whole mind, and matter of fact, I was telling it to my team in our first game. I said, bro, I set them down. I said to my defensive back, I said, look, let me tell you how my thought process worked in arena football when I was playing professionally. I tell my boy Kenny Mack, hey man, sit down. We don't play offense. Stop looking at the clock because you look at the clock and the clock goes in slow motion. Once we get off the field, we do what we do. We sit down and just relax. Whatever offense do, fine, let them do what they do. Because if they mess up, don't tell them nothing. Because if we mess up on defense, we don't want them to tell us a damn thing. So I say, okay, so just sit down, bro. And we're not gonna look at the clock until the 4th quarter. Now, after halftime, one of our biggest problem, especially Orlando, was we had all kind of mishaps in the 3rd quarter, especially with scoring. So my plan in Orlando came back. Hey, Mike, look, if we get the ball, it was either or. If we in the lead and we get the ball first, if offense go ahead and score on that first drive, it's over with. So we got momentum. Mm-hmm. So now we can stop them. So basically, it's a chess game. We're gonna try to keep the opposing offense out the end zone. If they score any points, give up 1 touchdown. Because if our offense come back and score 1 touchdown in the 3rd quarter, we broke even. Mm-hmm. So if we get to the 4th quarter, we got a lead. Now the coach's butthole gonna tighten up. They don't know what to call, and why they panicking, thinking what's going on. That clock's still ticking. Mm-hmm. So that's my game plan. Let's get out of the 3rd quarter. Once we get to the 4th quarter, we got a lead. That's a wrap. See now the chess game goes in. Now the playbook gets real small because they don't know what to call. Why? They're running out of time.
Yep.
They're running out of time. Mm-hmm. That was always my game plan. Everybody sit down, relax, don't watch offense, and you'd be surprised how the game go fast. But you know how it is, man. You sit there, looking at the clock. Man, this clock gonna crack tonight, man. This clock going to slow motion. Why this game over with? Mm-hmm. You don't look at the clock, man. Before you know it, you in the 3rd quarter, 4 quarters. Y'all in trouble now. So that was my game plan for, I ain't gonna say 14 years of my career. The last 12 years, no matter where I went, I taught that to guys in my secondary. Hey, bro, sit down, relax. That mean back there. We'll sit down, we'll laugh and clown and joke, boom, boom, whatever. And I'm gonna say this one, and we move on to the next whatever. So the Arena Bowl against Nashville, when David Cool made the last kick. So we sat down there, me and Kenny Mack looking at each other. The last kick as time went out, and I remember he looked at me, I looked at him, we said, man, we've been in a lot of these. we just started laughing. It's like, hey, bro, if we would have missed a kick, it was gonna be overtime. So it was gonna be like, bro, we'd have been in a lot of these close games, man, a lot of games. So after he made the kick and we won the Arena Bowl in Orlando, but it's just like when you've done it a long time and seen it a long time, it's just, hey, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. You just gotta go out there and make it happen.
Yep, yes, sir. So, what kind of advice, in closing? I don't want to hold you up all night, but what's the advice you give to some players that's looking to still play, but they kind of at that crossroads that you were at, when you were decide what you wanted to do playing pro ball?
I got several. I'm gonna make it quick. And on that note, that's a great point, guys. We're at the crossroad. First of all, I would say if it's still in your heart, follow your heart. Because if it's still in your heart and you decide not to do it, you ain't gonna never have no rest and no peace. And nothing you're gonna do is gonna be good enough because you're always gonna be wondering, shoulda, woulda, coulda, or if I would have done this. If it's still in your heart, go after it. Now, once you go after it, be a professional, be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is what you're gonna get in return. You don't know what God has planned for you. And I can actually tell you, this big old house I got, all this is all the stuff I've experienced, and each didn't know my story. If anyone called me and asked, I would tell you my story. Again, my book is out, so you can learn my story. But I say all that to say this here. People see the accolades, they see the accomplishments, they hear or can read the success stories, but they don't see the adversity that you go through. They don't see that grind. We hear about the Michael Jordan. That's one of my favorite athletes. You know what I say? To me, he's the best basketball player. He's my favorite basketball player. I'm gonna tell you why, EJ. I grew up in the era when I seen him get beat up by the Pistons. Year 1, year 2, year 3, and I'm in high school trying to make a name for myself as a physical defensive back. And my first thought, man, this dude weak, man. Yeah, Jordan, and he's slamming on everybody, but he can't win the playoff game. And now you're on the ground. And, man, I grew up playing. I ain't I'm a baseball player, so when I play basketball, I play what in the hood. And when you play in the hood, you better be tough. You can't be laying down for somebody to hit you. So when I seen Jordan that 4th year, and he was ready to fight anybody and everybody, I got excited. I was like, ooh, but they don't create a monster. I seen that for myself. And then watching The Last Dance, it was just for me proof. I tell people, see what's on The Last Dance? I lived that. I just got a backstory now, but I saw that. So that's when I became a Jordan fan because he wanted to fight everybody. He wasn't backing down for nobody, and that's who I was. So I'm saying that all to say people don't see the struggle. You don't have to be Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Deion Sanders. You got people like E.J. Burt who bust his butt. I don't know his backstory because he's younger than me. But I tell you one thing, when I heard who E.J. Burt was, I never forgot who the hell he was. you know what I'm saying? And I see the film from his days in the other teams he played with, and wherever he goes, he's highly respected. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing I know about my little brother. Besides the fact that him and I was in Utah, he the one who turned me on to the Boondocks. But the thing I remember about EJ the most is EJ ain't gonna say nothing, but you can get 110% from him every play. And I'm not talking about just in a game, in practice. And that's how I was.
Mm-hmm.
That's the advice I'll give you guys. Besides, check your heart. If it's in your heart, you go after it. But if you decide to go after it, there's anything. It could be a job, it could be a female, whatever it is. You go after it and you hold yourself accountable. You hold yourself responsible. You practice self-discipline and you give your best foot forward. Because what you put into it is what you're gonna get in return. And I'm ending by saying this way: you honor God by doing your best, whatever He gave you. No other professional league gave me the opportunity. So when I got the opportunity to play with Orlando that first year, and I think it was 5 or 6 teams after that, no matter where I went, they got Damon Mason. And I would tell people, I don't care if they traded for me or signed me as a free agent. You wanted me, you got me. But now if you got me, don't try to change me. That was my philosophy.
Yes, sir. So, in closing, how can you mention your book? I know you got a couple ventures going on. Kind of, plug those real quick in closing.
Well, I'm gonna say the book for last. I started a nonprofit. That's one endeavor I got going on. That's called DM9. If you don't know about now, DM9 stands for Damon Mason, the number 9, which is retired at Louisiana Lafayette. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm also in the Hall of Fame at my junior college, Jones Junior College. I'm in contention for state of Louisiana, so I'm gonna keep that on the hush. Hopefully I get it this year. But DM9 Diamonds of the Extensions. I know I've been here a long time, so I won't tell you that long story. But that's kind of an extension of Diamonds in the Rough. Matter of fact, EJ, I'm just say it. I call my nonprofit Diamonds of the Extensions because people call me a diamond in the rough. When Kurt Warner was playing this thing in the NFL, that was my rookie in the arena football. And you know what diamond in the rough is? People always say, "Oh man, he was overlooked," and whatever. He's the diamond in the rough. And in my mind, I'm like, BS. When you came to a football game, you heard my name, you saw me, you knew who I was, you knew what I can do. You just decided to overlook me for whatever reason. I ain't no damn diamond in the rough. I stood out loud and proud. So Diamonds of the Extensions, a diamond shines bright. The extension again speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Hold yourself accountable, responsible. Diamonds of the Extension. That's my nonprofit. My for-profit, my LLC is DM9, Damon Mason, the number 9 once again. And my book is called DM9 Origins. That covers my 8th grade, again, roughly the beginning of my freshman and sophomore year, just because it covers baseball. It's covered baseball. My second book, EJ, I'm actually about to put out in a couple of days. It's already done. I'm just trying to fine tune some things. It's called DM9 Fighting Wildcat Origins. I just like DM9 Origins, the complete story. That's the title of it. And then DM9 Fighting Wildcat Origins. That's my high school mascot, the Fighting Wildcats. So that's gonna cover. It's gonna be a 4-book series. That's gonna cover my first book. It's gonna cover my freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. So I'm gonna go all the way up, EJ. After I get to high school, I'm gonna do my experience in college. I'm gonna do my experiences in junior college. I'm gonna do my experiences in arena football. Then after arena football, up until present time, man. So I have a story to tell, and I'm doing it. I love it, and it's exciting, bro. So
Appreciate it. I do whatever I can. Let me know how I can help. Get that out there to everybody that needs that inspiration. So I'm here to help out. Whatever I can do.
Appreciate that, brother.
All right, but appreciate you coming on and telling your story. It's all love, and we're definitely gonna be in touch.
Proud of you, man. Keep it up.
All right, appreciate it. Proud of you too. All right.
All right, y'all take care.
All